So the stock market is now ripping to the moon, and every single person has the exact same two questions. Number one, did I miss the dip that we're still on right here? And number two, do I actually go and take profits? Because look at how much this market just went up. This is a pretty crazy move, right? If we go look at this on a percentage basis, the market just ran up off the lows in just a few days, almost 10%, right? And then from the highs, the market fell just about 11%. So look, in this video, we're going to keep it very simple. We're going to cover what to capitalize on, what to sell, how to think, how to put your mindset in the right place, because I get it. The market has been crazy volatile, and a lot of people are just all out of control with their portfolios right now, right? And if we could take a glance at my portfolio really quick too, this is as of today when I'm recording the video. I'm going to drop this video like right after I record it. My Schwab account is at all-time highs right now. And yes, on this dip, it went down to 1.4 million, but it didn't fall to like 700K like many people were down 50% somehow. It just fell a little bit. That's just normal volatility in the stock market. And the things that we're going to cover in this video, it's going to help you understand like why we're getting this volatility and how to see it as opportunity to capitalize, because no event of volatility in the stock market should go uncapitalized on, in my opinion. And the crazy thing about it is, despite my account being at all-time highs, the market is not at all-time highs. Why is that? Because on this dip, I was capitalizing. There was opportunity, buying ETFs, buying shares, selling puts, buying calls, things that were beat up, good companies, quality companies at good prices. I was leaning into those a little bit and capitalizing. So we're going to cover all this in the video here, because look, we're all here to make money. Okay, so onto the volatility thing right here. I fully understand it and get it. Nobody likes to see volatility in the stock market. But the hard truth for you right now is this. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you're not going to get it. The market is always going to be volatile. This is the S&P 500 max intra-year drawdown versus total end-of-year returns. DD is drawdown, TR is total return. The year is self-explanatory, right? What do we see here? There is a drawdown every single year in the stock market from 2026 to 1950. So if you decide today that you want to be an investor, you want to go put money into the stock market and feel smart, don't expect this chart to look any different going forward than what it looked like in the past. We are going to see drawdowns. We are going to see volatility. But if you look at the TR column, the total return column, most of the time the market ends up green despite that crazy volatility. Like look at 2020, for example, right here. The total drawdown was 33%, but then the market still ended up 18% in the green. So all the people that panicked right here when the market fell 33%, they weren't seeing that volatility as opportunity. They were seeing that volatility as a time to like panic and head for the hills, right? And that's kind of like what's been happening in the market too. Iran dip, capitalize. Right here, capitalize. I'm not saying like YOLO everything right here, but I'm saying like volatility is usually opportunity. That's like the point I'm trying to get at right now, right? So how does the data usually end up? If we look at the average drawdown intra-year, meaning like in a 1 year period of time, the average drawdown is about 13.6% per year here on the bottom. But despite that, the average annualized return is plus 11.7%. Just think about that. Somehow the market is very volatile, but somehow it still manages to return almost 12% per year since 1950. Pretty crazy when you think about that, right? So think about yourself, think about your emotional state of mind when the market was dipping on the Iran thing like it's World War III, we're never going to come out of it. What about right here? AI is a bubble, everyone's getting margin called even though the market only fell 10%. Like, this is likely to be opportunity in the long term, okay? Now, there's one other thing that we really have to cover because this is like a big needle mover usually. This shows us how the stock market usually does in presidential cycles, okay? We are not actually in a presidential cycle this year, but we are in a midterm year. And if you take a look at this, how does this look? This y-axis right here shows you the percent for return. We are in a midterm year. The average return is 4.6% in a midterm year in the stock market. The average max drawdown is somewhere around 17%. So you can see that this block right here is skewed lowest out of all four of these blocks right here. Meaning that in a year like right now, we should expect almost the most volatility and the most potential downswing in the market. Just look at it. Look at this right here, and then look at literally what we got this year in the stock market. If I go to a year-to-date chart, we had the Iran dip, and we had the dip right here because who knows why it even dipped. The AI is a bubble, whatever, right? The market's going to be volatile. You have to accept it. That's what I want to get across right here. Okay, Now check out this chart. We're getting into some signal right now. We're getting into some things that actually move the needle. Then we'll get into a couple companies and stuff like that we could check out to figure out, do we buy or do we sell, right? This is one of the most important things, and this chart literally just updated. S&P 500 versus where the actual earnings per share growth is at. Why do we care about this? Because the number one, the moves in market in the long term is not your Fibonacci, it's not your Bollinger Band, it's not your moving average, it's not the volume on something. It's simply where the earnings per share is at in relation to where the actual stock price is at. Look at it. Right here in 2021, the market was above the EPS growth line. Future returns weren't good. Above, future returns weren't good. Above, future returns weren't good. Above, future returns weren't good. Time and time again, the market will follow where the EPS goes in the long term. This is for the S&P 500, of course, but this is going to apply to every single company. And I'm going to prove it to you in just a minute when we go look through a few different companies up here. There's a lot of things that we're going to go through here. Now, back to the chart though. If we see how vertical the darker line here, which is the EPS growth, if we look at how vertical this growth is right now, where do we think the market's going to go? Well, Brandon, you just said like the market's going to follow the EPS in the long term, right? Yeah, right. So if this continues up like this is a 10-year chart on the bottom. So from here to here, we'll just say is a year. If EPS goes like that, where do we think the market is likely to be 1 year from right now? Now, look, I'm not Nostradamus. I can't predict the future and nobody can. But what I do know, again, is that the market's going to follow the EPS. So if EPS ends up right here on the tip of my cursor up here, the market is likely to be somewhere in that range of up there. So yes, we are going to experience volatility because it is a midterm election year. Yes, we are going to experience volatility because of Trump and Iran and oil and inflation and Kevin Warsh at the Fed and AI and Q2 earnings and Q3 earnings that are coming out in like a few months from right now. Like, there's always going to be something to worry about and think about in the market. But the signal is when you have EPS growing, that is the freight train of growth coming behind us. And wherever EPS goes is where the market is going to go. And again, like, these are the top 10 holdings right here in the NASDAQ. We have NVIDIA at 8%, Apple at 7%. I don't have to read this to you. But these companies have reported earnings so far, and they've been really good. So it's like if the majority of these companies are starting at fair value to start, and their EPS growth is really strong, where do we think this is going to push the NASDAQ QQQ index going into the future? Probably up and to the right, correct? Because, I mean, these top 10 companies almost compose 50% of the index, 46% of the index right here. So it's like if these dudes are reporting good right here, then, hey, it's probably going to carry the index higher. And when the index goes higher, everyone gets euphoric and gets excited. And then, hey, more individual stocks will follow that up and to the right. I mean, just look at real time right now. The Qs are up 3.4%. NVIDIA's up. Microsoft is up. Meta's basically flat. You know, the list goes on. Basically, everything is green today. Palantir's up 30%, right? So when the sentiment is good with the S&P and NASDAQ, and those look good to continue to go higher, like they're not at bubble valuations and EPS growth is good, then hey, it's probably going to carry other individual stocks with it. So now we're in the point of the video where I want to go through a couple individual stocks, right? Let's go through them. So some things that I definitely have my eyes on right now is going to be something like a TSM. Let me give you my thesis. TSM is a company that builds roughly 90% of the data center chips right now. 90%. And AI is not going anywhere. Whether you like it or not, AI is not going anywhere. I do not think that we're in a big bad AI bubble. The valuation level of the stock market is basically fair value right now, even though the market ran up a little bit. So if you own TSM in your portfolio right now, I wouldn't be someone that wants to sell this. I would want to be someone that wants to allocate more to it, even though it is up a little bit. Like 5-year chart, yeah, it's on a little bit of a dip, but 1 week chart, like, yeah, it's going to be, up and to the right a little bit right there. So in my opinion, the play on TSM is going to be to buy shares and sell 2-year portfolio secured puts. The valuation level is okay if we check the P ratio. Top and bottom line growth is okay. They have a moat. They have pricing power. This checks the box for myself. Now, of course, China could invade Taiwan. It could be bad, but I think that that's not going to happen. I think we're going to be okay. So 2-year portfolio secured puts, maybe a 350 strike, 2 years out, take the cash flow, buy some shares with it. And of course, keep your ratios in check so that if your brokerage account crashes, this is mine, if this crashes 50%, I'm not going to get a margin call. I'm not going to get wiped out. I'm going to be just fine. And the reason why I say 2 years out for sold puts and really anything that I allocate to is because nobody on earth knows what the market's going to do in the short term. I don't know. You don't know. Warren Buffett doesn't know. Nobody knows. So don't try to act like you know. That's why you don't beat the market in the long term, because you're trying to predict these short-term moves that nobody really knows. So TSM I'm pretty bullish on. Meta, as you could probably guess, super bullish on Meta. Meta's going to be a company where you have to be patient. We're getting this for 20 times trailing earnings with decent top and bottom line growth, and they are likely to have accelerating top and bottom line growth going into the future as they start to monetize their AI data centers that they're building. They could rent the cloud compute, or they could rent the cloud compute along with the intelligence and the brain with it. Zuckerberg said on a recent earnings call that he basically wants to have it like, we're going to basically let you rent a business in a box from us. And when you understand that Meta has billions and billions and billions of monthly users, there's a lot of people that they can monetize with that. So this is a story of being patient. I'm a fan of doing 2-year portfolio secure puts on Meta. I actually have a few call options on Meta too. The stock dropped a little bit after they reported. And just look at the irrationality of the share price here. The stock fell 10% right here, and then literally 3 days later it's up 10%, and literally nothing changed with the company. This is just short-term market movements where nobody knows what's going to happen in the short term in the market. Market's just crazy and irrational in the short term. So Meta, I am bullish on. Let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at the big bad Google, Alphabet, okay? P/E ratio is 18.9, not too bad. Revenue growth, 20% year over year, not too bad. EPS growth is great. Thing about the EPS growth is this isn't going to be sustainable because there's private investments that they have. In Discord, I broke it all down, how to actually get the real EPS, but the simple TLDR right now is, too long didn't read is what TLDR means. The simple summary right now is that EPS growth is not quite this good. PE ratio is not quite this good. It's actually a little bit higher. Obviously, we want a low PE with a lot of growth, meaning you're getting a lot of bang for not a lot of buck. Google, in my opinion, is still compelling despite all of that. So Google is something that I'm allocated to, shares, sold puts, stuff like that. Of course, all long duration. And I'm simply going to be patient with it. Another thing that I'm looking at, the big bad Amazon, okay? Amazon's growth is good. Revenue growth is decent. EPS growth is decent. You're getting this for 22 times trailing earnings, which is also decent. This, again, is kind of like Google, where in Discord, again, I broke it all down, the true EPS and how the real valuation is and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think that Amazon is good enough to sell puts. It's good for shares. You got to plan to hold it for the long term, and you'll likely do okay. So what I'm saying right now is this, and I want this to really hit home and click. Allocate to great companies and ETFs at good prices. And simply be patient. Do not stress about the volatility. Do not let someone on YouTube clickbait you to get you to believe to sell your portfolio. Know what you own, why you own it. Understand if the market falls 50%, are you going to be okay? Buy good companies at good prices. You need both, otherwise it's not a good investment. Just saying you like Apple does not mean Apple is a good investment. You must get Apple at a good price. And right now I think Apple's a little bit expensive actually. But the patient long-term investor is likely to be rewarded. We have great EPS growth. We're starting at close to a fair valuation level. The economy on balance is decent. Interest rates on balance are decent. Yes, there's a lot of things that are going to cause volatility. But again, volatility is opportunity in the stock market. Okay, so for the few people that made it this far in the video, I haven't showed inside my Charles Schwab account in a long time on YouTube. So let's go dive into it. I'm going to show you a couple things that I have open right now. Okay, I'm going to show you the top part right here first. So I still have my triple Q shares. They're up 116%, up 260,000 on those. VOO shares up, TSM shares are up. Meta sold puts. I sold these puts for $64K. I could buy them back for $52,000 right now. That is a profit of $12,000 unrealized. And we have NVIDIA calls that we're doing okay on. Meta calls we're doing okay on. Microsoft shares, triple Q sold puts when the market was falling. And you're probably wondering how is your portfolio at all-time highs even though the market is not at all-time highs? Well, I can't make this stuff up. We're going to go look at my lot details right here. This is when I was selling some puts on triple Q. Check this out right here. 728 is when I was selling puts. What was the market doing 728? Let's go to right here. 728. Do you see that was... Look, I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus. I can't predict the bottom of the market perfectly. But when there's more fear in the market, that is when I lean in more and sell more puts, right? Right here, 728. That's why my account's higher. Because I'm leaning in and selling puts when the market is getting cheaper, safer, and more compelling. Let's go back to the account. So those sold puts are up pretty good right there. I collected $31,000 in cash flow up front at the time that I sold them. And right now I could buy them back for $24K for a profit of $6,800 if I wanted to do it. Now, do you want to know the craziest part about this entire portfolio? I have zero cash in this account. Zero. These are not cash secured puts. Cash secured puts are garbage. They are terrible. Because if I'm bullish enough to sell puts on triple Q, why would I want to have all that cash sitting there doing nothing to secure the trade? I would never want to do that. So that's why I coined the portfolio secured put. My shares of triple Q, VOO, TSM, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, like whatever else I have in my account, that has value in my account. And I could go sell that to generate cash to then go take assignment of this trade right here. And as I always talk about with ratios, my ratios are always going to be in check. So even if this account falls 50%, I'm going to have more money here in this account that I could sell those shares even after a 50% drop. I could sell those shares, generate cash, and then still go take assignment of my sold puts and be just fine. Because I'm going to have more money in cash than when I am on the hook for to buy shares, right? So my ratios are in check. Now, this is a portfolio secured put. I'm paying nothing in margin interest. I'm going to be just fine in market crashes, like I said. It's honestly that simple. Like, it takes a little bit of time to get people to have like the light bulb epiphany moment of that. But yeah, if you do it correctly, you'll be fine in market crashes. That's what everyone says. Like, if the market crashes, you're going to get smoked, Brandon. Like, this is what my account did on the most recent dip. It went down like barely anything. Meanwhile, there's people that are getting margin called that are saying that my strategy is risky, right? I'm so big on risk management, trust me. But yeah, that's a video right here. Look, I want you to kind of walk away with this in the back of your head. The market's going to be volatile. This time is not different. Next year is not going to be different. 2027, 28, 29, and 30, it's not going to be different. There's going to be red right here for drawdowns. I'm not saying every year is going to be green going forward. It's going to be bumpy. But what I am saying is, when has it not made sense to capitalize on volatility when good companies go on sale and doing long duration options with your ratios in check? Not in the history of America, right? So I'm going to stick to the plan of doing just that. So if you got value, like, subscribe, hype, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. If you want to learn my stocks and options system, my course, my Discord, my stock sheet, my watch list, everything, access to me, link in the video description, 10-day stocks and options transformation training. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. You will love it. If not, watch a video right here. I'll teach you my stock option system in a high-level way. I'll see you there.